to go into too much. You know, in the past when we have our volunteer managers get-togethers, they're very casual and we just walk on. But we want to let Val get in straight away. So if everyone can just say quickly, just their name and their organisation, and if it isn't already on your screen, it's handy if it is there on your screen. I think for most of you it's already there. You know, in the rename, using the rename button. So I'm Riona from the Volunteer Centre. Hi. Olivia, off you go. You're next.
Yeah, I'm Olivia from the Volunteer Centre. Hi.
I'm Martina from the Northside Community Centre.
Hi, I'm Shelley Byrne. It says M40, but that would be my manager. But I'm actually Shelley, and I'm from the Northwest Hospice Charity Shop. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't too sure there. Okay.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm Byrne Crilly, and I'm from the Neurology Support Centre in Sligo.
Hi.
Hi, Byrne.
Hi, I'm Al from Ferliga.
Hi, Alan.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Braffney from Special Olympics.
Morning. Welcome back.
I'm Sarah Murphy. I've got my own research consultancy, and I also do some communications for clients. So I'm hoping to learn a bit more about it today.
Great. Hi, Sarah.
Hi. Hi, my name is Aria from Diversity Sligo.
Hello.
Hi. Hi, I'm Connie, and I'm kind of here for myself, really, but also a little bit for Sligo Environmental Network.
Great. Hi, Connie.
Hi.
And then is it just Shauna?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Shauna from Sligo Crisis Centre. My camera, I have bad Wi-Fi, so I'm going to have to apologise and just you'll have to picture my face.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Val.
And Monica. Did Monica say?
Monica. Sorry, Monica.
You're all right. Monica from Focus Ireland.
Hi, Monica.
Hello.
Now, is that everyone?
Val.
Yeah. Oh, I'm Val. I've had a blog for 12 years. Some of you might have seen it, Magnumlady's blog. I founded Sligo Hub. That's now not me anymore because basically I don't have time. And apologies for the sun coming in here, it's a bit distracting. But anyway, I work now in marketing, and I suppose I started off with the blog and doing my own social media, and then I volunteered in the Sligo Volunteer Centre to kind of get a handle on how to do social media for other people, and then it kind of took off from there. So now my job is I'm a digital skills specialist for a marketing company in Leitrim, and we do a lot of Erasmus projects and things like that. So I suppose, yeah, I'm all about social media. So, and I've also done some work for Sligo PPN. I ran their social media accounts for about a year. That was over a year ago. So yeah, this is going to be very informal and very brief. We're just going to have a look at an outline, and if you get some tips from it, brilliant. And if you want to stop me at any stage and ask a question, feel free, because I have a habit of rambling on, and I'm well aware of it. So anyway, I suppose the first thing you've got to look at is think about the platforms that you want to use. You don't have to be on everything. And I think this is the mistake some people do, where they start on everything and then they realize that they can't cope with it all, because it can be a very full-time job if you let it run away with you. So I suppose Facebook is the easiest one. It's the most popular one if you're heading for an older age group that you're trying to reach out to. Make sure that you have a page and not a friend page. A few people make the mistake of setting up a friend page for their organization, but Facebook can and they do shut down pages if it's not an actual name of somebody. So just be aware, because I know people have had a lot of friends on their Facebook page, and actually I'm just thinking there is a Sligo one that I'm thinking of that has a friend page, and they've got like over 1,000 friends. But if Facebook realize that that's not a name, they can shut that down, and then you've lost your people. So just be aware of that. If you're on Facebook, don't use too many hashtags if you're doing posts, but I'll go into the posts later on. Twitter, I love Twitter. Personally, it's my favorite, but it's very, very fast moving. It's a great way to get the word out, and you can hop on like the Sligo hashtags, things like that. I wouldn't use too many hashtags. And when I'm saying hashtags, basically, it's a topic of conversation. Like today, the big one is going to be Inauguration Day. So if you go onto any of the social media platforms and you type in your little hash and then Inauguration Day, you'll get a whole list of posts that are relevant. So say if it's like the National Volunteer Day or something like that, you can really get on board with that if you use that hashtag, because people will be searching it. And it's a really good way to join in a conversation that's relevant to you, rather than you will get bombarded, especially on Twitter, with all kinds of stuff that isn't relevant. But there's a mute button, which is great. But anyway, I won't go into that because that's going to be, if there's training coming up, you'll learn how to use that. Instagram, fine if you're using photos. It's a photo-based platform. Use relevant hashtags. Again, just Google what would be relevant for you. It can be hard to build up an audience on Instagram. So really for community groups and charities and things like that, I would suggest Facebook is probably the easiest. LinkedIn is mainly for professionals, but it can be good to make connections with people. So if, I suppose, thinking of Connie there with the Sligo Environmental Network, LinkedIn would probably be very good for you. There are would be a lot of subjects around what you're interested in, and a good way to reach out to other people. And you never know really who you're going to connect with and how they can help you. And this is the whole thing about social media. It's about connections, and it's more important now than ever when we can't connect in real life. You have the whole world at your fingertips. Even I suppose for me, just this week, the BBC contacted me. Now that wouldn't have happened without social media. And I've had a bit of video used in an inauguration news feed today, which is huge. And again, that wouldn't have happened without social media, without me putting posts up, videos up, because that's how they found me, through Facebook. Onto the other platforms, the Snapchat, I would say it's mainly for younger people. I don't go anywhere near it. I had a quick look and I'm like, no, it's not for me. Also, your posts are gone in like 10 seconds or something. So it wouldn't be one I would recommend. And then there's TikTok. If you want to have a bit of fun, if you're interested in doing short videos, if you watch the Flemings, I don't know if you do, Fleming family, they're very, very funny. They do short videos, fun videos. But again, mainly, I would say mainly for younger people, mainly to have fun. But you could, I mean, if you want to have a look at all of these, have a look, see what fits. But I would say stick to the platform or platforms that you're most comfortable with. There's no point stressing yourself out by trying to keep up with everything, because it's not going to work, and then you're just going to give up on everything. The biggest thing I would say, keep consistent with your posts. Maybe stick to 3 posts a week, whatever suits you, 1 post a day. There's a few people on Twitter and it's like boom, boom, boom with the posts, and you're quickly going to lose followers because they won't keep up with you. So, I mean, I can be quite wordy on Twitter, but I try to, I suppose, limit the amount of tweets I would do. It wouldn't be like 10 an hour, which some people would. It's different, I suppose, if you're having a conversation on there. So just, and with the conversation thing, that's the way I look at social media. I look at it like you're in a coffee shop. So if you were, say, on Facebook and you've posted something and somebody leaves a comment, try to reply to them, because in other words, for me, it's like if you're in a coffee shop and someone says, hello, how are you? And you say nothing, that's the equivalent on social media if you say nothing. Also, when you do comment on somebody's posts, it will help your reach, and it will make them feel valued, and then they'll come back again and they'll interact with you more, you know. And even if it's a negative post, try to, I mean, don't go down a whole rabbit hole, but try to keep it so that you try to reply, or at least like the comment, but I would say reply if you can. So what can you do on social media? Firstly, tell your story. Tell them why you do what you do, what your organization is about. Can they donate to you online? If you're on Facebook, have a little donate button at the top of your page. If you're on Twitter or anything like that, have in your bio, have where they can go to donate, how they can get involved if you're looking for people to get involved. on any of the platforms, well, the Twitter and Facebook, you can have a pinned tweet to the top. So basically, if you wanted to do a little introduction, my name is so-and-so or whatever, or my organisation is Sligo Volunteer Centre, and I'm here to help you, you know, get volunteers for your organisation, pin it to the top of your Facebook and Twitter. So at a glance, people can see the most relevant, up-to-date information. Now, do make sure that you do keep an eye on it, because I know it's very easy to pin something to your page and then forget it's there, and it can be 2 years out of date. So it's really going to be the first thing people see when they go onto your page, and it should be telling them a bit about what you do. So tell people why they should get involved with you. People love finding out about people. Community groups and charities, they're the same as businesses, really. People buy from people. So people buy from businesses they like, they buy from the people they like. They're going to support your charity or your organisation if they like you, if they like what you do. Bring personality to it. You know, you can be friendly, you know, you don't have to be, I suppose it depends on your organisation and if there is a certain standard where you have to keep it all on one level. But I do think if you bring a bit of personality into it, you will get responses that you need. So tell your volunteers, why are they involved with you? What do they like about your service? And they'll encourage other people to become involved. Do a little, maybe once a week, do a spotlight on each volunteer and get them to say who they are, what they do, why they're with you, how many hours a week do they give you. You know, and again, that's probably quite important. How many hours do you want people to work with you? Or is there any other way they can get involved? I know, like the Northwest Sews group came about last year because of COVID, and it was just basically people online that had sewing machines and they made masks and people got involved. It was fantastic. And I was actually there, I think it was in the summer sometime, because the PPN were doing a Step Up for Sligo campaign. And actually these people met each other for the first time. It was wonderful that these people from all over the Northwest never met each other before, but they all came together through the one topic that they all loved, and that was sewing. So they were able to give something back. And that's the thing about it. If people are interested in what you do, they will get involved, and they'll love getting involved, and they tell everybody about it. A great way, if you're on Facebook, is a very short live video. Now, I know that's extremely stressful because I've had to do one for work and I don't like doing them. And I used to do them for the blog. So what I tend to do now, if I'm going to do a video, I'll pre-record it. You would probably get more reach if you did a live video, but don't stress about it. It's not worth it. Just, you know, work with what you have. The whole thing about it, I would say, don't put yourself under any pressure. Keep things positive. It's a really strange time for people, and some people are very much struggling. And there are a lot of pages and groups with a lot of information and facts and figures and negativity. So I would say if you can step away from COVID, step away from it. There's enough of it out there, and I think people will, and I've seen myself through different pages that I'm on, people go to the positivity. You know, try and keep it upbeat, even if it's just, oh, isn't the weather lovely today? I don't know, a talking point. Know your audience. So if you have a look at the posts that you've done before, if you're on social media, the ones that have done well, and try and work out why were they popular. Was it a topic that you used? Was it a nice photo that you used? Was it a question that you asked? And try and do something similar, just to keep the reach. Again, it's all about reach, and Facebook can be quite awkward when it comes to that, but it's the same across all the platforms, really. Get to know your audience and find out as well when they're online. You'll get more reach if you time your posts at the right time. I've often shared posts early in the morning, or well, I suppose around 10 a.m. that get no views. The same post, if I share it around 7 o'clock in the evening when people have had the dinner and they're sitting down and they're scrolling through Facebook, will get a lot more traction. You can schedule your posts on Facebook and Twitter, so you don't have to be waiting to post them. You can have them all ready to go. You don't even have to be online. So as I said before, interact with your followers, you know, make sure that they get to know you, you get to know them. And as I said, think about it as a coffee shop. share relevant content from other pages. This is a really easy thing to do. You don't have to think about what you're going to post, because you might see something that's very relevant to your community group or charity, and you can just share it. And I would probably put a few words with it. Isn't this a great idea? What do you think? Or something like that. And it also encourages other groups to share back from you. So it's a win-win, really. It's going to help them reach people. It's going to help you reach people. If you're stuck on inspiration, have a look at similar groups to you and see what they're doing, just to get some ideas. You know, everybody does it, businesses do it. It's a great way to just see what they're posting, if they're getting a reach. Obviously, if it's not reaching people, then don't worry too much about it. For Facebook, make sure you invite all your friends to your page, and encourage, if you've got other admins on the page, encourage them all to do the same. If you see people liking your comments, you can click on them to make sure you'll see if they've liked your page, and if they haven't, just invite them. And 9 times out of 10, they'll accept the invite. This time during COVID and everything, where you're probably not able to do as much as you would be doing, it's a great time to have a look at your website and your social media. And it's also would be a good opportunity if you were looking for a volunteer to come on board. And I have to say, I'm involved with Having a Laugh charity. We bought a book out last year, and we had fantastic use from volunteers. We had a graphic designer work for us. We had an editor. We were all volunteers ourselves, and we had people that were typing up things for us. So really, it was all done by volunteers. So there are so many people out there that really want to help and make a difference. And it's fantastic, because then you've just handed something over that you don't have to worry about, you know. So when it comes to the website, have a look at it, make sure it's doing what it should be doing. Again, there's volunteers that can help if you need them, and make sure it's up to date, make sure all the information is up to date. So just have a really long, hard look at that. Make sure the links are working. If you've got links to different pages on your website or contact details, make sure they're all working. It's, you know, a good way to do it now while you have the time, because if ever things come back, you know, you're going to be busy again. So blog posts are also an idea. This gives you a chance to tell people more about a certain topic, or about maybe some event that you've got coming up. Again, good, clear images. Make sure you're using your own images. Don't just grab them off the internet, because you could get yourself into a bit of bother with copyright. There are several websites where you can use images for free. I like Pixabay. There's also Unsplash. So if you have a search, you'll be able to see what's out there. And most of them, they have lovely images. You can type in the category you're looking for and get an image from there, or take them yourself. Most phones now have very good cameras, so you don't.
And sorry,
yeah.
Can I ask you, Val, when you're talking about a blog post,
yes,
is this on your website?
Yes, it would be on your website, and then you would share it over to your social media platforms.
And is would that kind of be on a homepage, or like, where's the best place to put it so people see it? Should it be the first thing they see, or?
It's up to you. Some people have what's called a landing page, and that would be hello, welcome, you know, this is who we are, this is what we do. And then at the top, there's a little thing for a blog page. The blog posts would all be in there. With our works one now, we just have a separate section. So we've a landing page, and then we have the educational work we do, and then we have marketing work we do, and then we have the blog pages. But with the blogs, then you can just copy the link and share that across your social media. So that's the way you would do it. There used to be a thing on Facebook called Notes. I think they've got rid of it. You could have done it through there as well. But it's nice to have your website really is your home.
Yeah.
So although you have the social media channels and everything, they can move fast. It can get busy. The website's your home, and really all the content would come out from there.
Okay.
So yeah, I would keep the blog posts on there, but it's a great way of keeping in touch with people. Again, telling them the events that are coming up, telling them what you need from them, how they can get involved, or anything, you know, that might be of interest. I particularly like, if you look at parkrun.ie, now the link is a bit long, but it's www.parkrun.ie/Sligo/news. the lady there, she runs every week they're doing virtual park runs because they can't meet. So everybody's going out in their own 5K and they're doing their park run. But what I love about the blog, she's made it so easy to read. She's involved people that are taking part. So the people are sending their photos in and you get to see photos of different parts of Sligo. Some woman is running around the town, some woman's running, you know, in Killarney. It's lovely. It's just a great way. She's a lovely way of wording as well. I think with the blogs, don't be too formal. The way I write my blog is as if I'm having a chat with someone over the kitchen table, just like a friend. I would write as I would speak. Blogs don't have to be formal. Your website homepage would probably be more formal, but your blog, you can be yourself. You know, you're the voice or the face of the organization. Apologies for the dogs in the background here. So yeah, it's I like the blogs. It's just a nice way to give a bit of personality again. It's all about the personalities, even in community groups, because you're all together, because you've got the one focus and the one, you know, the one goal really. So we've done about the images. If you want to do, you've probably seen, if you're looking at social media, there are lovely little graphics. So you've got an image and then you've got text on it. So this is a good way, especially if you're on Instagram, to share stuff without being very wordy. And it's on Canva, that's CANVA. So there actually is a step-by-step guide on Canva to designing from scratch, because basically it's like a mini graphic design program, but without knowing everything about graphic design. So if you have a look at that, it's a really nice way. You can do logos for your business. If you don't have one for your organization, you can just do little template about this is what we're doing. And you know, I find some people when they're on social media will write a book with a post. So Canva's a good way of not doing that really, because you need to, if you're getting people involved on any of the social media platforms, you only have a brief amount of time to do it, especially with the videos. I think it's something like 2 or 3 seconds. If you don't get them in the first 2 or 3 seconds, you've lost them. So it's almost like come in with a bang. And then if they like what they see, they're going to stick with you. It's just because it's so fast moving. So basically that's it in a nutshell. I didn't want to go too in depth to anything, but if you want to ask me anything now, you know, feel free to. It's a lot of trial and error. You know, you'll put up something that you think will go fantastic and it won't, and then you'll put up something. I'll never forget a day I took a photo. It was in Glenif Horseshoe. I put it on Twitter. By the time I got to Drumcliff, my phone was going mad. It was something I'd never thought about. I ended up going viral, actually. I was trending on Twitter. So it was just a snowy photo, but it captured a moment. And it was one of the days like where there wasn't much snow anywhere else, but there was a blizzard in Glenif. And it ended up going all over America and everything like that. So it can be the least things, the simplest things that will capture the imagination of people. And it's usually the weather, you know, but it could be something, you know, people like animals. Depending on your organization, depending what you're doing. I know there was a Northwest stop had Odd Socks Day. That done very well. They got people involved. You know, it was a way for them to raise funds, and all it was, people just sent in photos of them with their odd socks and encourage people to donate. So, you know, there are different ways. Think outside the box a bit and definitely have a bit of fun with it. That's what I would suggest, depending again on your organization. And if there's any, I know some organizations do like to keep things very, you know, by the book. But I do think you'll probably get more of interaction if you think a bit outside the box. And Monica here will tell you that, because she's a great one for coming up with different ideas, you know. So so that's about it. If anybody wants to ask anything, feel free. I realize I'm way under time, which is unusual, but there you go.
Fine, it's fine. Have people got questions for Val?
Yeah, I just have one, Val. I'm just what platform would you recommend then for websites and stuff? You know, I know there's different ones out there, but which ones are the better ones?
Well, I've use a couple actually. I've WordPress.com for Magnumlady blog because it was free, basically. Sligo Hub, we had WordPress.org. You will pay for that. There's also Squarespace, which is meant to be a good one. So there are a few, and I suppose it depends on your web designer too. Like my personal blog one, there's no web designer, it's me, and it's free. I just paid a bit to knock off the WordPress.com. So it's just Magnumlady.com. It works for me. It costs me, I think, about $20 a year. Again, depends what you want to do. But I actually see, when going onto my dashboard, you can add a donate button on that. I don't know if they charge extra because I don't use it for that. And certainly if I was selling on it, it would be an issue. Then I would probably look at Shopify, but that's for selling, or possibly Squarespace. It really depends what you're looking for. But WordPress.org, if you know a bit about web design, I didn't. Kate, that worked with me on Sligo Hub, she's the web designer, so she organized it all, and I just wrote the content. And then basically, it's very much like my own blog. I think Squarespace is around €25 a month, so it just depends. There's also Wix.com now. I was looking recently at a website comparison guide, and that came up quite well. I don't know what they charge, so you'd really need to look into what they charge. And I know if you're a business, now this might be different for the charities and the organizations, but Leo were doing an online trading voucher where they would pay like 90% of the cost of the website. That's probably not valid for charities and community groups, but it'd be no harm to find out.
Yeah, no, I think Ciara has looked into that, and it's not.
Okay.
Yeah, we're sort of hoping that might change.
Yeah, or there might be like maybe if you have a look at the wheel.ie, that's a great website for community groups and volunteers, and they would have links up for funding. Locally, Sligo PPN are fantastic. They definitely have links up for relevant funding, and there might be some kind of funding. If you get a volunteer that can do websites, they'll be able to help you. So that would take out the issue of building the website, because Sligo Hub was built by Kate, the web designer that was working with me. But if you have a volunteer, and there might be students that might need to do work for their courses that they're doing, and that could also be an idea. Get in touch with the IT. Have they got any students that need to do a module in a training in doing websites? You know, use people. That it's fantastic way, and you're not really using them. I say use them, I don't mean it like that. I mean, from my own point of view, when I volunteered for the Sligo Volunteer Centre, having that on my CV was amazing, and it's probably one of the reasons why I'm in the job I'm in today, because I gave something back. I learned loads, and it's all about learning. Every day is a learning day. You're never going to know it all. So people are willing to help. It's great for their CV if they do help you, and you might have a lovely website at the end of the day, you know. So I would get in touch with the IT, with the lecturers. They usually, I know, actually, they would be looking for placements, because I know we've had a couple of people contact our company. So maybe they could be a placement in your organisation and help you that way. Maybe if they're studying social media, they can do that. The only thing I would say is, if you're getting someone to do social media, have them tell you what they're doing, because it's a good way to do it yourself. You know, what's it? You can teach a man to fish or something, but you know, or you know, you can fish for the man, but if you teach the man to fish, he can do it himself. So if you have a student on board, pick up any hints and tips. You know, I remember, actually, this is quite funny, but when the internet first came out, my husband had it. I was like, "Sure, what are you on that for? It never take off." And now he's like, "Oh, she'll look at you now." Do you know? So you will pick it up. It can be quite addictive, you know, but you'll learn loads, and it's just it's a great way of keeping in touch with people. So,
just looking around, I think quite a few of the people on here, the ones I know anyway, you're already online doing quite a bit.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah,
yeah.
Like most of them could give
probably a mix
themselves. Yeah,
and we didn't know who was going to come today. I suppose the reason we did this event was because over the last few months of doing the volunteer manager get-togethers, and then we ran a training in December. And one of the big things that people were saying is that they needed help with their with their online stuff, whether it was their website or whether it was social media. And so we're just trying to figure out how we can best respond to that. And so today is sort of the start of that process. And then we thought, sure, Val is on our board now, so we'd bring her in and
yeah, I'm on the board now.
utilize her skills.
Yeah.
Because obviously she knows more about it than the rest of us. But I wanted to mention some stuff that the PPN are doing, because we only heard this in the last couple of days, which is great. So the PPN they got Joanna Sweeney, who works in Sligo IT. She's in the marketing department there.
She's very good, yeah.
So she has, this is already in progress. She's doing instructional videos for how to do various aspects of social media work. And they're going to be, I think, on the PPN website. We'll make sure we share them with you once they become available. And then what she's going to do is in February, she's doing a certain amount of mentoring slots where she will do one-to-one mentoring with her organization for free. So if that's something you want to avail of, I would say try and get in there fast. I don't know how many of them she's going to do. And then the other thing, as Val was saying, is that we're trying to figure out, like, should we be recruiting a panel of people who would help people with their social media? Is that something that people would want? And then there's different levels to that. You know, there's somebody who could just come in and teach you stuff, you know, very short-term basis, and teach you how to do things. Or then there's getting a volunteer to do it for you. It is easier to get the volunteers on the short-term basis, obviously, than the long-term volunteers. We've had volunteers in the Sligo Volunteer Centre do our social media over the years, and it's been mostly really positive, but it is hard enough to get the right people, because obviously the people on social media they're your voice, like they're putting out your organization's, they're your main voice in the world. So you have to really trust what they're putting out there.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Recruiting the right person in the first place, and then very close supervision in the first few weeks. That's what I would have always done.
Yeah.
And then usually, you know, after the first few weeks, and you can let them do stuff themselves. But I would have always made them schedule stuff, so that they're never, you know, like, so if I knew they've scheduled everything and they've done it on Tuesday morning, I can look at the posts on Tuesday afternoon before anything actually appears. And if something is off tone, or, you know, if something is a little bit like, oh, that's a bit condescending, or that's just not right, that's just not in keeping with us, because they don't know, you know, then you can edit it. So that's something I'd recommend if you're looking.
Yeah, there have been issues even recently, actually, where not volunteers, but people that have worked for organisations where there's been some issue and they've gone on a rant on Twitter. So yeah, on your profile. So yeah, do be careful.
You have to be very careful, yeah, if you're recruiting a volunteer, you know, and you have to, but the thing is, I mean, it's not impossible to do, and you can get people. I suppose when we saw how popular, so this event was like sold out really, really quickly, and we have a massive waiting list, which shocked us a little bit. And we were like, oh my God, if all those people want to volunteer, there's no way we'll find 30 volunteers that are good really quickly. But I'm thinking this thing with Joanna Sweeney might work out for some people, you know. We do have a survey that we're going to put up. I'm going to hopefully ask you to fill this survey while we're still on the call, so then we actually get the surveys back to us straight away, asking people exactly what they wanted, you know, what attracted them to this event. Was it just to hear Val's tips, or are you looking for something more after today? And what is that? So I'll put that up at the end. But in the meantime, has anybody anything else to say, either to Val or say to us about how we can help you? And Olivia, weigh in here if I've omitted to say anything. Just nodding there, okay. So I said everything. Yeah, has anybody any thoughts?
Sorry, I was just going to ask Val another quick question about the blogs. You were saying, like, I actually thought it was the social media blog, Facebook posts fed into the website, but it's the other way around. You do it all on your website and then you post.
Yeah, I mean, you can have, it depends on your website. You can have your Facebook feed, you can have your Twitter feed. I think I have my Instagram and my Twitter feed along the side of my blog. If you go onto magnumlady.com, you'll see the blog. It's basically, I suppose I would look at it like an online magazine. But then I share then any post, but the posts I've learned, don't share a post in the morning. You may as well be talking to an empty room.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, and again, certain days, certain times, they're the ones, and it depends what you're writing about. That I've written extensively about depression. Actually, they were the ones that got the most readers because people were struggling. And I shared my whole story because the way I look at it is, if I'm going to help, if I can help somebody that was going through what I was going through, then it's all good. You know, so really my blog, I would write about anything and everything. It's going to be different for your organizations, but you know, if there's I suppose with yours, neurology, tell people what it is, tell people how people are affected. You know, I suppose it could be one of those hidden disabilities that people need to know more about. You know, they might not understand what it's about.
Yeah.
So that would be very interesting. Even if you had somebody that's going through your service, you know, what support are they getting? Why did they need to come to you? And where did they find the help? So things like that, you know, you basically look at what you do and treat people as if they're a bit silly. You know, people might not know what you do. You have to spell it out to people. You know, and this is something, you know, that I've realized over time. You know what you're talking about, but it doesn't mean to say everybody else does. And that's not in a condescending way. That's just in a, you know, tell them right from, you know, I know, is it Declan Walsh works with you?
Yes.
Well, he has an excellent podcast that he did with Clodagh. So put that on your website. Have that on the front page.
Yeah.
Click here to listen to Declan about why the centre was founded and the story behind it. And again, even short videos on that, you know, and there's loads you could do, absolutely loads. I have to stop because I'll end up writing posts for you. I'm just like, I'm a bit of an ideas person, you see, and this is what happens. And I end up, because I used to write for Sligo Now magazine, now I write for work. So I write about all different kinds of topics, from virtual literacy and engineering to whatever else we're doing. So it's never a dull moment.
Thank you.
Okay, no worries.
I was chatting to Alan there during the week. I suppose from our point of view, we have a website and app, but the problem is now our clubs. So I suppose I've got great tips for them. Thanks a million, Val, because the problem is to try and get them to engage and come online to do the sessions online, because our athletes, we did a survey there a while ago and it came back that they're really missing the social interaction. So that's interesting. Just from their point of view, I would love to send some of them on, but I've got the information now so I can go back to them with it. So thanks a million. But that's the challenge we're facing, is trying to do the whole blended approach, well, online now, but then that will make it blended. So it's a step that we've never really taken before. And I suppose it's kind of different because it's those live sessions. And that's what came back from people, like you were saying there, they're afraid to do it because I suppose they haven't done it before. It's something new. But it's definitely something that we need to look a bit more into. I'm only back 2 weeks now, so I just into it now, but I had Alan was great. Melissa had told me he'd been on one of your meetings, so I was picking his brains the other day. But no, it's definitely something that our clubs can get something for. Like, I know a couple of them have their own Facebook pages, and like people want to volunteer then because they see the photos and stuff they're putting up, and it's just to get them to kind of lead the rest of them. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah. And as is the live thing, it is scary. It's even scary, and I've been doing it years. Pre-record thing is much easier because then if you don't like it or if you say something wrong, then you can do it again, you know. And again, it's all a learning thing. The more you do it, it will become second nature. And some people are genuinely frightened of putting up Facebook posts. Kate, that used to work with me on Sligo Hub, was terrified of doing it. So I used to do all the Facebook posts, but she was excellent at it. It's just, I think when you get into a mindset that you can't do it, then you're like, oh no, I can't do this. Whereas if you try it and you see how it goes, and in the end she did. I was just too busy, so I was like, Kate, you know, you kind of need to do it. So she did it. Sometimes it's almost like giving them a gentle nudge to do it. But again, with the Special Olympics, you've loads of stories there. You have unlimited stories. You know, it's never ending really, and people love reading good news, happy stories about why the Special Olympics is so important for people. and, you know, for mindsets and everything and how people can get involved. So there's loads, you know.
Thanks, Val.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
I think like Brittany, I don't know, just from I think one of the things is the way to take the fear away is just to do it in a safe group, you know. So if there's a few of the club leaders that are sort of at the same level with their experience of the internet, if you could literally just don't overthink it, just if it's a Zoom thing you want to do or whatever it is you want to do, bring them together and you're there with them and just say, right, let's just practice, let's just hit buttons. The worst we can do is log out and tell them how to get back into the call. And it's just like a practice session and it might take the fear away. Because sometimes talking about these things and attending training and everything, it doesn't help you get past that bit of fear. The thing that gets past the fear is doing the thing. And if you can do it in a safe way, you know, with a safe bunch of people, it's not being done with the athletes straight away, obviously, or their families. I don't know. And like, our experience in the volunteer centre, anyway, myself and Olivia just decided last year to start doing a few Facebook lives, and we were terrified, but we just did them. And
we made a hames of one of them.
We made a hames of some of them, and you know, but the ones that we laughed through, that we made a mistake and we started more laughing, they actually probably, that was the best bit of them.
But yeah, people love that because you come across as human. I mean,
Yeah,
I think
it's
there's a
just
video
so
that there's a
normal.
video of me up, and I'm in a boat with a load of sheep. Don't ask, it's a long story. But basically, I forgot that I hate boats, so I'm really just roaring my way across a lake. And that went, you know, mad. I mean, it's funny when I look back on that, actually. But anyway, do you know, if you can laugh at yourself and we're all in it together.
A bit of personality.
Yes, nobody's gonna.
It's actually kind of liberating in a way, isn't it? But because no one really cares, you know.
No, sure,
everyone.
Everyone's worrying about their own stuff.
And you know, probably if you're more sensible, they'll probably be like, Asha, look at you one, she thinks she knows everything. Whereas if you're like, I haven't a notion what I'm doing, do you know, everyone's like, Asha, we're all the same, do you know?
Yeah, you're relatable. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Has anyone else got any tips that or anything that's worked for them already, or any sort of particular post or blog that was popular to share?
They've all gone to sleep.
You're all useless. Only joking. Only joking, you're not, of course.
Well, as I said, like I've stuck up that form there that in the chat, the survey is there, and we're hoping people will fill it in, because the purpose of this really for us, well, the bit from Val is separate, but after today, we want to know how we can best help groups, you know, and is it that people want volunteers, or is it that you need training? And if you need training, what do you need training in? Because myself, from attending social media training, if you go to, you know, it's too general. Usually you want something. If I was starting on Facebook, it'd be a bit different training from being further on in Facebook, or the same with Instagram. So Sligo Volunteer Centre's only gone on Instagram in the last 6 months or so. And I do most of it, and I don't really know what I'm doing. I do have to attend an Instagram training because I'm doing very basic, and I keep putting up links, forgetting that you can't click a link. And I do realize that, and then I take it out. But it's messy because I haven't put time into it yet.
We'll get to a volunteer, Riona.
Yeah, we might avail of a volunteer ourselves out of this to help us with Instagram. But what I mean is, we're trying to get the specifics from people of what they're at, you know. Is it that you want to start out on something, a particular platform, or is it that you want to get help to get to the next level? Is it training that might do it, or is it a volunteer? If it's a volunteer, is it could a normal person do it, or do you need a professional to do it with you? Are you looking for somebody at Val's kind of level, you know, or are you looking for just a normal person who's able to do their own social media? I would say, if any of you here do decide to take on a volunteer and you're wondering about all that stuff about, you know, trusting them, and how to get that relationship right so that you can trust them through your social media, I'm happy to talk to you about it, because we've had like, I don't know how many now, 4 or 5 volunteers, and they've all been very good one, except for the very first one, because I was wet behind the ears and recruited the wrong person.
I hope I wasn't the very first one.
2 months later. Oh, you were the first one, but you came in when I was on maternity leave. So no, I wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't. But the first one I recruited, which was a few years later.
Okay.
Sorry, Val, don't worry, we didn't let Val go. Yeah, I don't know if you were there, Olivia, then, but she was just the wrong person. You know, she kept making spelling mistakes and saying the wrong thing, and yeah. It was...
Actually, Connie, I remember one of your posts was about your time away in in a very remote place. Can't remember the name of it now, in South America or somewhere like that.
Yeah.
And I found that really interesting. So that stayed with me, or I remember that, and it was a while back. So something like that, very personal.
Well, that is actually, it's a blog post for
Right.
our organization though, but so we just shared it. But
yeah, but it was really interesting, and those kind of stories are very interesting, And I remember that, and I'll go back, and I'll want to know, are there more stories like that? What else have you got?
Yeah, I suppose for us it's a bit, it's that balance as well, to sort of represent the group and to really be sure what is the group and what does the group want, and not to focus too much on just specific individuals as well, and yeah, I suppose, we're struggling a bit because we're all volunteers, and so to find a sort of a strategy as a group, but then also to align the social media strategy with that has been challenging and time consuming as well, I would say, so if it's all volunteers.
Yeah, that's the thing, actually. It does take time, as you all know, and we find that we're the same.
We're the same.
Yeah.
We find it, like Monica's here. Monica thankfully very kindly gave us a photo of a volunteer that we recruited for her. He agreed to be photographed, and we put up a post in early December saying that we had recruited him, and he's now happily volunteering for Focus Ireland under Monica. But like, that was quite time consuming. It's much easier for us to just bang up one of our normal, we're looking for somebody to volunteer, but we know we have to balance it out with the stories. But again, we find it hard to get the time and make the effort to do that sometimes. Because
I remember that photo, actually. It stuck out in my head because I was still on maternity leave. He's sitting at a computer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that did really well for us. And then our Facebook Lives, any videos we put up at all, even if they're a bit daft, they do well. And as Val said, I think if you do them on Facebook Live, the algorithm likes it or whatever, it seems to show it to more people.
Any videos, actually, if you're doing any videos, share them to Facebook. Don't put them on YouTube. They're in competition with each other. So if you're going to post a YouTube link on Facebook, you've lost straight away, because Facebook are not going to share this. We're in competition.
Oh, that's good to know.
It would be like asking. It would be like asking Currys to share a Harvey Norman post. Not going to happen.
Oh, all right.
So
I didn't know that. We have a YouTube channel.
I have a YouTube too, and I do share them now and again because. But you will. The only thing with Facebook videos, and this is what I had, because when the BBC contacted me this week, sorry about the dog, my video was on Facebook, so they'd compressed the quality. Now it was grand because I had the original that I could send them. But it wouldn't have been high enough quality for them to get from YouTube. From Facebook, because of the quality is compressed. For the, I suppose Facebook couldn't put up high resolutions of everybody's. But yeah, put them straight on Facebook. Don't go through YouTube. Obviously, unless it's a longer video and you have to use YouTube. But there's Vimeo as well.
Vimeo,
I didn't even get started about videos, but Vimeo is like YouTube. Again, that's possibly a better one to use, but you wouldn't get the YouTube reach that you would. YouTube is kind of the go-to. But you could do podcasts. The world is your oyster now. Podcasts, you can put them on Spotify. You can. I volunteer with Ballina Community Radio, and I have a radio show twice a month, which is great because I get to play songs that I like and just talk to myself for an hour.
That's cool.
But it's another way of telling people what you're doing, what's going on in your world, and there is actually Sligo Radio or Radio Sligo. So if they're looking for volunteers, and maybe you could set up a Sligo volunteer show. And here you go, there's an idea for you now, and get your organisations in and have a chat about what they're doing.
Very good. Yes.
They're usually looking for people.
Yeah, we're not short of ideas, we're just short of execution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see a few people have already left, so I'm really conscious. I'm hoping that you'll fill in the survey before you go. I put the link a few times in the chat.
We'll give you time now to do it. So
we'll actually give you time to do it now. Yeah, unless anyone else has any last questions in case.
Can I just ask you, the Facebook Live, I mean, I know it sounds like a stupid question. So what is that? Do you invite people and at a certain time then you are live talking to them? What's that?
No, basically you start doing a video, you'll see it when you go into create post page, you'll see share a photo, share a video, or go live. So basically you're filming live on the spot. But what happens is Facebook will notify your followers. So it will come up, Neurology Support Centre Sligo is live. Do you want to watch? It will come up on anyone that follows your page. So that's how you get the reach more than, you know, but it's fine. I mean, when you finish doing the live, it'll stay up there, and then it will come in a notification that you were live. Do people want to watch the video?
Okay, very good.
Yeah. And there's also a premiere feature as well, where it's a pre-recorded video. That's where you would invite people, where you say you are going to share a premiere. It's at 8 o'clock tonight, you know, would you like to join? But it's different to live. You'll get more reach if you go live.
Okay.
You can say I'm going to go live at 8 o'clock, can't you?
You can, yeah. You can. But then
I'm going to go live in 10 minutes or whatever.
Generally people have forgotten, even in 10 minutes.
Yes.
It's like, oh yeah, I was meant to look at that. And then, you know, something's happened. Or yeah. And Bernie, there's no such thing as a silly question, by the way.
Great. Thank you.
Okay.